And
did they see us?
Has anybody seen my chops? Two gigs in one day and it's over.
At least you have chops, man.
I only have them for a minute at a time.
Once you just come to the fact that, well, like me, you just don't have it, then you have nothing to lose.
Man, that ain't true. That's not true. I get to the point where it's gone like here. Yeah. So you know how it is when you just press and you hope that you can get through that phrase.
Yep.
I'm just playing on my teeth.
I would just pray that mic is on.
Bury it in the mic.
Like, that's where those whisper tones really come in handy.
Whisper tones. I wish I could play it a whisper.
Oh, me too.
Hey everybody, I want to introduce you to Henry Hung.
Hello.
Henry Hung, we don't play enough together anymore, so I said, all right, I'm going to get Henry Hung on the show.
Let's do this.
In between sets. So here's what I want to do is like, Henry plays jazz. He plays the good jazz. He plays the really good jazz. So I checked out a Wynton Marsalis book, right? His biography.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, man, all right, I'm going to get the secrets to what he's doing. And I thought maybe they'd go into some detail about what he practices and how long he practices and how he sets up his practice session, right? Nothing in that book. It's all personal, right? Which is cool.
Anecdote stories.
Anecdote, right. But for you, could we talk about what you do, what you did to cut to the chase to become a better jazz player? What did you do? What's Henry's thing?
All right. I think what really helped me, you spend all this time transcribing, but you don't really know how to like utilize those transcriptions of those ideas. And it depends on what you're hearing and your levels of what you're hearing and what you're going to play, right? So let's organize this. If you're one of those people that can play anything that you hear, I hate you. If you're everybody else, part of it is
the rest of the mortals.
The rest of the mortals.
Mere mortals.
It's like it's taking a long time acquiring vocabulary by transcribing, listening to a bunch of people. And then from those transcriptions, really starting to understand the structure of some of the lines that they do. I would take a lick, and I'd be like, oh, we're in the key of C, and that lick is like 1 flat 3 3s, 5 6 1.
So you're talking about like a digital construction of
almost
what you
like
just heard.
Formulaic, right? I would take a lick and just like take out the formula, and then I'd go through the keys. But even that, like people like, I know, take a lick, go through the keys. And I think the next step that people don't really do is whatever they learn, you gotta apply it. It's like language acquisition. So I would pick like blues or minor blues or rhythm changes, and I'd do one of those Aebersolds, and I'd go through all the keys, and like I would go, all right, this is the line I'm working on, blah 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 blah. New key. Jam it in there like a new vocabulary. Right?
So you're forcing it into the changes because you're waiting and you're using it.
Right. I'm forcing that new vocab in there. Then I improvise. And then next key, jam it in there, force it in. This is like learning to like conjugating your verbs or whatever, right? Then improvise because the line's going to land in different places at your horn. It's going to speak differently. Right. Either the meat or too low or too high. And you just gotta learn to see where that line, whatever it is,
in that key,
feels good for you and your horn. And sometimes I'll just like, okay, it doesn't come out well in this key. I'll alter it just a little bit to make it feel better. So there's like language acquisition, right? Like vocabulary, and you do that as much as you possibly can. And of course, this is after you feel comfortable with all your scales, right? That's
scales, already given.
All that stuff, all your diatonic stuff, major, minor, blah blah blah, modes. Once you feel like that's like baseline, you're not thinking about it. That you can take a line in all different keys. That's there. And then the next thing is also, like whenever I do like clinics or like one-offs classes, I talk about roadmaps. Like I'll take a blues, and I'll just talk about all the different roadmaps you can have in a blues.
Okay.
Right. And I as much time as I think about like lines, I also think about different roadmaps within a song structure or different substitutes changes you can do in a 2/5.
So can you elaborate when you say
Like for example,
roadmaps?
like let's say we just say do a C blues, right?
Okay.
If I do a class, and I usually do a class like on blues, I'll be like, okay, boogie woogie blues, you're thinking like a C6, boom 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 boom, that type of thing. And you teach them. The big thing I would go was like think 5-4-1 at the turnaround, the last 4 bars.
Right.
Bing 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 ding 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 dong 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 5-5-5-1.
Right.
Right. Great. Then we start getting to jazz blues where you start adding 2 5s, right? So it's like C, F, C, and then 2-5
To the 4.
to the F, right?
Right.
F, C, and then 2-5 to the 2,
Okay.
5, 1, and then I'll introduce like turnarounds 1 6 2 5
Okay.
there, like 1 6 2 5. Great, that's one roadmap. Next roadmap, I'm like, well, there's other things you can do, like on the 1 chord. 1 chord 4, you can do 4 diminished into instead of going C, you can go C7, F7, F sharp diminished. That can lead you to G minor 7, to C7, to F, right?
Right.
Like make it extended 2/5
Okay.
to F7, and then when you get to F7, I start thinking, I'll go like, you can think F sharp 7 on the second, F sharp dominant, F sharp diminished.
On the
this
second.
a second one, just
Right.
just to kind of like do like one of those passing chord things,
Right.
and then instead of thinking F sharp, there's a couple, you can go C again, and then 3 6, then D minor 7, G7, blah blah blah.
Right.
I'll introduce diminished on like the third one. Fourth time around, I'll start talking about tritone subs.
Okay.
So you're like, okay, C7, F7. Or you can C7, F diminished 7, F sharp diminished 7 to G minor, to F sharp 7 to F. Like that's when I'll start telling
To the
them
4 chord F.
Yeah, to the
on the 5th bar.
right.
Okay.
F7, and then F7 again if you want, and then I would on 1 2 3 4 5 6. I'll measure 7 and 8 where it
Right.
goes back to C7. I'll go, well, you can push that E minor A7 down 1 measure, so you can go. You have F7, E minor 7,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then instead of A7 on this next measure, you can just go think A flat 7,
Okay.
then D minor 7, D flat 7, C, then right here, C, then tritone subs for all C.
For the turnaround.
Yeah, C,
Okay.
C, E flat, A flat, D flat, C.
Like the Tad Dameron.
Yeah,
change?
it's Tad Dameron
Yeah.
stuff, right? And then I'll talk about turnarounds where you can write out all these different versions of a turnaround and literally mix and match different
Okay.
chord changes, like
Right.
right. Instead of you going C, E flat, D flat, C, E flat, A flat, D flat, you can go C, E flat, C, E flat, D, D flat, C,
Right.
or C, A flat, G, right?
Right.
That type of thing. And after doing that, that's like version 5. So you see like all these roadmaps.
Okay.
And so
when you're saying roadmap, you're talking about chord changes.
specific chord changes that will go that will guide me through like something.
Right.
Right. And I would do that with rhythm changes a lot. I would go, okay, this rhythm changes, I'm going to try this sequence just to get that vocabulary in here.
Right.
And it might not be different chord changes. It might be like trying different scales out. That type of thing. Just like
Talk about that. What do you mean more specifically?
I would do a blues and I would just say, oh, whole tone scale for everything.
On each change, so
On each change.
Okay.
Yeah, and then with the different roadmaps,
Because they're all dominants. you
right?
mean.
They're all
Yeah,
dominants.
yeah, yeah.
And then when you switch around all the when you find all these alternate chord changes, you can also try to play whole tones or diminished scales based on that new roadmap, that new baseline roadmap.
So how would on the new roadmap, how would you apply the diminished scales? You mean for dominant you do half holes? You mean?
Yeah, so dominance I usually think half whole, and then you said diminished scales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, diminished you can go in a whole world of scalar type patterns. Like there's like so much, like Train is like the master of like all these diminished patterns you can do on it, and then like you're like, oh, C7, F, C, then F sharp,
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
like that
Get
type
it.
of thing, right? And I use road maps as a way to just kind of like take me to different places, and then I just mix and match with whatever I'm hearing. You practice it enough that you start hearing all these possibilities, and then it becomes part of your language in some way.
Okay.
And then with the road map, that's when you can really get into like the fourthy pattern type stuff, because then when you know all these alternate chord changes, then it's almost like I almost think bass notes, like
Okay.
like for example, let's do C blues again. Like I'll go, oh okay, I'm a C7, F7, G sharp, G flat 7 to F7,
F.
and then I'll go F minor, like minor 4 is really nice, goes to F minor 7, E minor 7, and then instead of E flat 7, E flat minor 7 to D minor 7, D flat, right? So all that like chromatic
Getting
thing,
back to the C.
getting back to C, all that chromatic stuff, I'll just go, okay, I'm just going to think sus and fourths.
Okay.
C, right? F, and then G, G flat, sussy type stuff.
Right.
F minor sus, F minor pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, E flat minor pentatonic, D minor pentatonic, D, or whatever, right? And you don't have to be like so dogmatic with I'm just going to do pentatonic. You can it's whatever you're hearing at that moment. Then so that's kind of, I mean, there's so much to practice, but if you like kind of just go, I'm just going to work on this line, this concept today.
So when you say like pick one line, one concept, for an example, you say one line, one concept.
Like,
so what would be day one?
Day one, like let's say because you can never get enough of Woody Shaw, like right, something like that. He'll do something slick on a dominant, right? And I go, oh okay, that's nice. I'll do that on a dominant blues, right?
So let's just back up. We'll hold that thought. So let's back up. You listen to Woody Shaw. Oh, I like this dominant lick that he does. You take that dominant lick and you apply it to this blues that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so, he does like that's on like 7th Ave or 7th Ave or one of those, like 7th Ave or I think it's 7th Ave, and I'm like, oh okay, then I'll go, okay, I'm in the lick is in concert F, so I'll start on the F blues.
Okay.
And then I'll just try to find different ways. Oh, we're going to do C7. Might as well practice it in C7. And then I'm like, oh well, I'll try that tritone sub there. Like I'll take that
And you
lick, and with that roadmap, it'll force me to try to play that lick in all different types of.
And you'd play the lick verbatim. You'd play it like exactly.
Well, as closely
at the start,
right.
And then you'd maybe branch off and use that as a subject matter or something for your solo.
Right.
And then just kind of twist it and permutate it, and then you have a different sequence maybe.
Yeah.
So let's back up even further. So you said, learning the language and whatnot, and you say, okay, just transcribing. Now, my question to you is for transcribing, couple different questions. Do you transcribe entire solos?
Depends.
Do you go ahead? Or do you transcribe part of a lick and
I
then
get
do
right,
it on all 12
I get right
keys?
to the nitty-gritty. But I do, like, I have transcriptions on my website, henryhungmusic.com.
henryhungmusic.com.
And,
Perfect.
but man, it takes so long. Who has the time? And sometimes I'm like, I just want to learn this one thing. So
You mean one lick?
one lick, yeah,
Okay,
which is
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
3 minutes into the solo. Like I'm like, so it depends. Like if I have all the time in the world, great. I'll try to learn as much as I can. If I don't have much time, which is like all of us, I'll go right to that line.
Yeah.
And then, but I also try to, just also like you try to understand what's the concept behind what they're doing, right? So like I would check out some Kenny Garrett, and he's doing all this slick fourthy.
Kenny Garrett is pretty slick.
Oh man, so slick.
He's really slick.
But he sets it up so nicely too. So it's like a lot of us, we learn the lick, but it's like there's a setup to the lick and there's a follow through to the line.
Okay.
That we just kind of like, I try to get an understanding of like, how do I set it up and how do I finish it too?
That's a good point.
I
mean, why is this lick here? How did he get to the lick?
Right.
And how did he get out of the lick?
Right. Like there's like he does this stuff on Equinox, right? Right. And he's like doing all this like D minor pentatonic. I think it's D minor. and he's like, and then he goes up a pentatonic, and then lands on the major 3 at the beginning of the next chorus. And you're just like, and just the setup into
Right.
that line, it just makes that natural 3 in the minor blues just go, what was
Where
that?
are you? Yeah.
But he sets it up like, and I've tried to do that line a lot, but it's like he just has such a nice setup into that line that you're like, it's like learning not just the line but the setup
It's like
into it.
when the great soloists play, it's like
Yeah.
it's already predetermined. It sounds so natural, not like they're trying to figure it out. It's just kind of like
Right.
they already know before they play it.
They know the effect that this thing does.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just can't, like some lines you just can't pop it out. It just doesn't have that same feel as just like you got to work some other things into it. I don't know, that's what I sometimes think. But some lines, like when I've practiced some lines, I'm like, oh, this is such a slick
Now what?
jazzy lick. I can't wait to play it. And then you play it and you're like, that sucks, And so, sometimes I think about setup. What's the general vibe? What's the general
That's good.
concept?
So,
Yeah.
so when you transcribe, do you do it all by ear? Or do you just write it down, or you just do it all by ear?
I take transcribe ! And I
That was my next question. So you're not like, oh man, don't slow it down. You got to do it at the speed.
tell
right?
those people to kiss my. There's certain people who can hear it like that. Good for you. Not me. So it's all about acquiring this information as quickly as possible to improve
Save
your
time
playing.
because we have access to apps.
Yeah. So it's like,
Transcribe.
there's no need to.
any tune. Yeah.
So check this out. This is my anecdote that I give. All those stride players. Some of those stride players, I heard they learned from player pianos, and they would twist
That's
the
good.
roll slowly, and they put their hand there, twist it again, go to the next
I didn't even think
thing,
about that.
Boom, boom.
Wait, so they were transcribing in a different way. Yeah,
and
by
then
feel.
and then
literally.
also I also heard
and
those stride
visual.
players. This is way out there. They're all left-handed too. That's the rumor I heard from a piano player who told me. I was like,
Really?
that makes sense, doesn't it?
You mean like Willie the Lion
Yep,
Smith
yep.
and James B. Johnson?
Yep.
and
A piano player friend of mine. He said, "Damn lefties."
Fats Waller?
He said, "Damn lefties."
All of them?
That's the story. It makes you feel better, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah,
but
it
I'm
does.
not left-handed.
Yeah, me neither. So, transcribe, slow that thing down. Man, you find out a lot of stuff. Check out Sonny Rollins on Feared Blues. Slow that down, and you hear the splice.
Isn't that weird?
You hear the splice. They splice Sonny solo.
Sacrilege!
Listen to
No.
it. Oh man, they're splicing like crazy.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Just listen. I think it's Veered Blues. One of the versions of Veered Blues, either with Miles or something. It's like I'm listening to it, beautiful solo, and then there's just like
This click or something, or just a...
ride
Oh.
to ride right here,
Oh, okay.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Wait a minute.
wait a minute, what's up with that? And maybe I'm
Well, could-
crazy,
could
but
be.
check it out, and
I'm gonna
tell me
check
if I'm
it-
wrong.
I'm gonna check it out.
Don't be a hero.
Don't you think if Lester Young had transcribed, he'd use it
Yes, all of them.
instead
but like,
of the record?
But like
and the needle?
here's another thing, kids. All those jazzy people are geniuses. Louis Armstrong, genius. Like listening to like Dexter Gordon and all this. They're like playing this language as a second language. There's no like, what note is that? What
No.
am I trying to? It's bam. They had such amazing ears. They're such on this amazing plane of musicianship that we just have to remember that their standards of musicianship are just so high, and if you're a mere mortal, you just got to work really hard to get there. But we're listening to people who have perfect pitch, an insane sensitivity to harmony, and and were master technicians of their instrument. Like such like this triumphant of mastery that they made it seem so easy that we think we can play it, but we can't. It's hard.
We try.
It's hard. So that's where I'm at.
That's a good thing. You just keep trying.
You just keep on trying. You find your own language.
It
You find your
sounds so
own
cool.
thing. in it. You know, it's still beautiful. You know, you can never be like Miles. You can never be like Freddie. You can only be like Jeff Lewis or Henry Hung.
Do I want to be like Jeff Lewis?
Yes, you do.
I'm still trying to be somebody.
Yeah, you're gonna be Jeff Lewis, man. You're badass. How long have we been playing with each other?
30? 20?
20. Because I've been here about 20 something years. Oh boy.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
I think the first time we played, one of those big bands.
Was it Pearls?
Nope. It was Rudy Salvini.
Whoa, okay, yeah, Rudy.
Here's the trumpet section. You, Ruff, Bertetta,
And Alan.
Good times.
Wow,
Good times.
that would have been fun.
You and Ruff were having such a ball on the other side.
I'm so bummed he moved.
And like Alan Smith was like not having it.
He wasn't.
He was like business.
It was like, oh yeah, no, Alan.
Alan Smith Kids
Yeah.
was one of the greats.
He was all about
One of the
business,
greats,
but
man.
Amazing.
Amazing. This man was like, he got called for Duke, got called for Count, stayed in town in the Bay Area, became a principal for like 20, 30 years, retired, and just played beautiful
Showed
stuff.
us how to play.
Lead playing, solo, his soloing was like Sweets Ederson with
Totally.
like, but when he needed to pull out the bebop, serious. And he was playing that Salvini thing. He was playing lead,
Oh yeah.
right? And he was like 70, 80,
I know.
and he's like, and he's playing lead with like Bertetta, this guy, and Ruff in the section, and all those guys are like lead players, and Alan was like playing lead on top of lead players. It's insane.
And Alan would go, oh, here, young man, I don't feel like playing this. I go, I don't feel like playing it either.
But yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That was good, man.
that was a lot of
I was
fun.
lucky when I came to town. Man, so many good horn players in this town. So many.
Still.
Yeah. And everyone's cool, cause there's work.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna be like super famous living in this town, but like it's been nice to make a living playing trumpet, being late for our third set. Sorry, Louis.
Oh yeah, we should go.
No, should we? This is fun.
Yeah, we should because we're done at 9. Oh man, we should go.
Bye-bye.
Henry Hung, check him out. Henry Hung,
Music. I don't update my website anymore.
but it's still there.
Check out Jeff Lewis.
They already know about me. I want to introduce some new cats to the scene.
Okay, I'll advertise.
All right, Henry
I have a
Hung.
group called the Klaxon, Klaxon, Mutant, All Stars, and we travel the universe, saving
universe.
everybody with our jazzy jazz electro stuff. So you
Check it out.
are welcome.
That's
Eric
like that.
Garland on drums, Casey Knudsen on saxophone, Colin Hogan, I like pointing at this thing, on
It's cool, my
piano,
hand.
and a bevy of amazing bass players, but currently Mr. Jonathan Herrera, but many amazing bass players.
Uh-oh, we gotta
Derek
go.
Tillman, Derek.